you. He does something new for you to do something new through you. Would you look at somebody and tell them, neighbor, here's what I'm trying to tell you. That whenever God gives you new position, he grants you opportunity with new purpose. I don't know who I'm preaching to, but I need to tell somebody in this church that whenever God gives you a new status, it comes with new elevation. And when it comes with new elevation, it comes with new responsibility. But that's all a part of God just simply trying to do something new. Just shout something new. In fact, I'll just parenthetically throw this in. Deacons, if you're going to get me, you can get me later this week. I met with the deacons, as I do every month, and while meeting with the deacons, I sat there and I discussed with them. We were coming up and embarking upon our first year together. I asked them specific questions. Number one, how do you feel now? I said, I know when I came in, you won't tell me the truth, but I know the truth. You saw this young grasshopper in Buckaroo. Y'all voted and elected, and some of y'all probably said, now, how did he get in there? I don't know either. It was all God. But the reality is I'm here now, and I ain't going nowhere until God says otherwise. But I asked those deacons, what do you feel? It was my deacon, Deacon Williams, who always has the very opinionated stance in our meetings, who says, well, Pastor, I don't know about none of them, but let me tell you the truth about us. He says when we set to met down and pick pastors, we pick those numbers and those qualifications by a certain age bracket. He says, honestly, Pastor, that age bracket was almost at the age of 50. My math is a little off, so I started to count a little slow, and I was trying to figure out how they get from 50 to 28 at the time. Some kind of way, God, though, allowed them the opportunity to choose a little 28-year-old, and Deacon Williams said this, Pastor, all I got to say is everything you're doing around here is just something new. What I'm trying to tell you is that God will place people in your life when you don't expect it to do the least expected to perform something new. I dare you to look at somebody and tell them, neighbor, this. Say, neighbor, good evening. My name is so-and-so, but I got to let you know I'm a member of this church. I love this church, and here's what I believe about this church. God sent somebody in position, gave him a new purpose, and when you walk up in here, you about to start seeing something new. Every day you're going to see something new. Every week it's a new spirit. Every week it's a new anointing. Every week it's a new word. Shout something new. I told Deacon Williams this morning, Marcia, I said, Deacon Williams, I don't know what this sermon about to do. I said, last night I stayed up all night. I ain't been to sleep but 1 hour because I couldn't figure the sermon out. And I said, but here's what I do know, is that every week I show up with a new mind, with a new spirit, and some kind of way. My spirit meets his spirit, and something happens in between the pew and the pulpit, and we receive something new. In fact, it's some of y'all in here today who ain't gave me your own personal and private testimony. But your testimony is, since I walked through the doors of this church, been here all my life, maybe I'm a new member, but every time I come in here and I leave out of here, something get all over me. Make me want to run and ain't nobody chasing me. Make me want to laugh and ain't nothing funny. Make me want to lift my hand in church is dead silent, because when I walk in, it's just something new. Let me quit. Genesis chapter 12 causes us to look in on the life of one whose name is Abram. I want you to hear the context of the reality so you can know when transition happens in his life. This is not in Genesis 12, Abraham. According to Genesis 12, he is Abram. We first meet Abram, watch this though, in Genesis 11. If you bag that thing back up and hop over into Genesis 11, you will discover that it starts in Genesis 11 because in Genesis 12, it opens up by saying, now the Lord. Whenever you see that word now, it's a transitional word that lets you know this is a change from what just happened. So the only way you understand what's about to happen is you bag up and read what has happened. And so in Genesis chapter 11, you will discover, Deacon Ben Best Jr., that when God mentions Abram, he mentions Abram and mentions Abram as the son of Terah. Let the church say, huh? Yeah, that's what his mama named him, Terah. His name is Terah. Terah is the father of Abram, and Terah has decided, according to Genesis chapter number 11, to grab his family, take his family, and they are going to travel, Uncle Deacon, to the land of Canaan, because we miss it. Remember, Terah is 205 years old. But Abram at the time is settled, is wealthy, has a wife, and is 75 years of age. And yet in the midst of how old he is and all the qualifications and the quality of things he possessed, God still finds a way to call him. Man, I thought you were shouting me, get that point. Hold on, let me try this. Bag up. Here's what I'm trying to tell you. Because when God says, if you got a key they car, why are you even keeping them around? God says, leave them folk. I quit. He says, if you're going to do something new, going to receive something new, got to get rid of them folks. But here's why you get rid of them. I'll cut through the field on this. He says, get rid of them because when I do something new for you, Abram, if you want the rest of it,